There we go. I got the light working now. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. This is, of course, United versus everybody. I am Sean. This is the Manchester United fan channel that is for you, from you, by you, because of you, whatever you want to put in that little blank space there. This is your channel. This is your opinion. This is your thoughts, your feedback. Your everything comes first. I am just here to kind of facilitate the conversation. We are here today to kick off our Carabao Cup campaign match reactions after Manchester United kicked off their Carabao Cup campaign with a pretty straightforward victory over League One side Barnsley. Boy, were our predictions a bit short in yesterday's match preview, right? I think I had said we might win 4-1. I did expect us to probably concede a sloppy goal. A lot of you guys were saying 3-0. Somebody threw out a 1-0 yesterday. But obviously, it finished 7-0 with 2 goals apiece from Marcus Rashford, Alejandro Garnacho, and Christian Eriksen, of all people, got 2 goals as well. And then a nice little pen from Anthony to cap things off. So we're going to dive into our match reaction today. Obviously not going to go into too much detail. Sorry for being a little late, too, by the way. I was just trying to catch up with Erik ten Hag's post-match conference to see if anything interesting in to say. So I'll talk about that towards the end. We're going to get stuck in. Hit that like button for me. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are on the road to 2K. We did just hit like 1,500 subscribers this week. I want to say it's like 1,550, 60. I don't know. I'll have to check again. But you guys are following along. You guys are engaging. You guys are sharing, liking, watching, most importantly. So I'm so glad for that. So thankful. Let's see if we can get that to 2K. And let's keep on rolling. So on the match, got a couple thoughts. I'm not going to do a 3 thoughts because it's Barnsley. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. It's just Barnsley. So we're just going to do the initial reaction today with a little bit of all that rolled in. I didn't think we were quite dialed in from the start. We looked a little leggy. Passing was definitely not dialed in, especially those long balls from deeper positions, long balls from like Casemiro, Maguire, Evans. Just weren't quite dialed in. A lot of those long balls were either hit way over the top or behind, so it just kind of slowed things around. But that's normal to start a match. You're going to not be quite dialed in when it comes to, you see that all the time, whether it's shooting, set piece delivery, all that stuff takes a little bit time to get dialed in. I was just on the pitch yesterday just kicking a ball around, and it takes me, and obviously I'm not a professional, but it takes me a couple of kicks to try to, put a free kick where I want it to be. You just got to get dialed in a little bit. It's all there is to it. So we weren't dialed into the start, but proceedings went pretty much the way we thought they were going to go. Were you surprised with the starting 11? Get your thoughts in on that. Were you happy to see Ugarte get his full debut? Get your thoughts in. We're going to cover all that and more as we continue on here with the match. Starting with the starting 11. So Bindier, Dallo on the right, Johnny Evans, Maguire. Toby Collier at left back was a big surprise. I'm sure a lot of you probably have some thoughts on that. I know my eyebrows raised a little bit when I first saw that. It was very, very interesting, very odd. I know I did see some footage ahead of the match where he was pretty heavily involved in some of the crossing drills. So obviously the plan was to get him more advanced and more involved. Then we had Eriksen and Casemiro in midfield. Bit of a vote of confidence from Ten Hag to give Casemiro the armband too, especially with Maguire on the pitch too. It's a bit interesting. Let me guys know what you thought of that decision. And obviously Ugarte got his full debut for the club starting this match. And we're going to talk about Ugarte as well. Garnacho, Rashford, Anthony up front, pretty much kind of like what we were talking about. Good to see Bruno get some rest, but it was good also to see him come on towards the end just to get some running around in. I will admit, though, no Harry Amas in the squad was a bit disappointing. No Wheatley getting any minutes was a bit disappointing. It was more disappointing than surprising. I know we said yesterday, and I said, Ten Hag's probably going to put a strong side out, probably stronger than we'd like. I was just really hoping to see Amas. Let me know what you guys thought about that. I mean, he wasn't even in the squad. We have 2 fit left backs, only 1 right. 2 fit fullbacks, only one of whom actually started. And the other left back who joined us on preseason wasn't even in the matchday squad. So I don't know what that is. Probably maybe just he's still young. He's not quite at the Collier level where he's seen as, the next one to come in. So I'm sure we'll see him maybe a little bit more towards the end of the season. But was a bit disappointing. I would have liked to seen him get some minutes today. And I didn't think that we would want to risk that many of our only fit fullbacks, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, Erik ten Hag can't complain about injuries when he makes decisions like that. When you've got so many injuries to your fullbacks already and you want to start some of your only fit ones and not maybe be able to play some of the youngsters, and you want to play a young midfielder out of position at left back, you don't get to complain, because these are the kind of decisions that are going to make or break the season for you. So on the Toby Collier decision, let's talk a little bit about Collier. Because, again, starting him at left back was an interesting choice, I felt like. Again, he was heavily involved in those crossing drills and warm-ups. He was trying to get a little bit more involved in the final phase of the attack. He kept kind of overlapping, coming through central to kind of make these late third-man runs a lot, which we've seen a lot from our fullbacks under Ten Hag. Started off a little shaky, though. It seemed like he was kind of caught between being a left back and being a central defensive midfielder in his mind, because he kept kind of moving centrally to get involved. He kept kind of coming forward to kind of get involved, break up play. And it did cost us a little bit to be a little bit more vulnerable a little bit. Gave away a needless foul just outside the box in one of these instances as well. Just a little unsure of what to do. And I'm not going to go in too harshly on him because he's played out of position. In the attack, though, if you notice, when we were in possession and we were building up, he would kind of move centrally to sit alongside Casemiro. There were times even later on in the second half where when we were building out from the back, it was that 3-1-6, and he would kind of be the only one in there. Dalot, Evans, Maguire would kind of form the defense. Casemiro would push up, Eriksen would push up, Collier would kind of sit in there a little bit. So I didn't mind that. It's helping him kind of get familiar with our tactics a little bit and his positioning in those and like rest defense and all that stuff. So I don't mind that aspect of it, but he did look a little shaky to start. It is what it is. Again, I would have liked to have seen Amas play, and I'm not going to go in too harshly. Again, it kind of like when Amrabat came in last season and we had an injury crisis. Amrabat was throwing in the left back, and I wasn't going to go in too harsh. I don't go in on Lindelof too harshly when he had to play left back either. It is what it is. But let me know what you guys thought of Collier's performance. Did he do fine? Did he look out of place? I thought he looked out of place, especially to start, but I think he looked, because we had so much possession and he wasn't kind of under pressure too often, it really didn't make that big of a difference overall. So it is what it is. But I think in that case, though, what would have been wrong with starting Amas in that position if he wasn't going to be tested as much, just like Collier wasn't? I think it would have been fine. But Erik ten Hag knows more than me, so it is what it is. Again, I thought it was just kind of a sloppy start all around for us. Makes sense given the rotation, given some of these players are new. Collier is kind of new to the squad. Ugarte is kind of brand new. A lot of the players that were in the starting 11 don't tend to play with each other very often. So there's a little bit of just lack of familiarity there, a little bit of rust. It makes sense. Like I said, to start things off, Casemiro looked a little slow, gave away a couple cheap fouls. Ugarte looked a little like he's got to shake off some rust still. We know he didn't really play for preseason. He played internationally, yes, and he came on as a sub against Southampton, but that's pretty much been it. So he did look a little slow, not quite match fit in terms of his legs, a little late to a lot of challenges. I thought he was lucky to not see yellow early on I think he had like 3 or 4 kind of just late challenges. They weren't necessarily yellow card tackles, but they were just an accumulation. I would have thought he would have seen a yellow, but it is what it is. Casemiro, I feel like overall just tends to look better when he's high up the pitch. It's just the way it is now. I'm not saying he's going to be our new number 10 or we don't need to improve on him or we don't need to buy midfielders because Casemiro is better high up the pitch. It just is what it is. His experience at the top level, his experience playing alongside top players over the last decade or so, he just knows what to do in those situations, similar to Varane in our box defensively. He just knows what to do. He's had some really good passing, really good link-up play recently up in that final phase, that final third. He played another brilliant little ball today to find Dalot, a little flick. Those two are linking up really nicely. They had a nice little link up against Southampton as well. Dalot touch was not offside, by the way. The linesman was a bit of a joke today. He made a couple of bad decisions, both for and against us as well. So I think that later on I think Barnsley should have had a throw in because it came off Collier and they weren't awarded it. So that linesman on that side, the same one who called Dalot offside when he was not offside, was not great at his job today, but it is what it is. And then Casemiro had a nice little backheel flick to find Anthony later on in the second half. So he just looks a little more, when he's not having to chase and recover and defend, like he looks much, much better when that part of the game is taken off of his shoulders. When we keep the ball up in the final third, when he's able to do that, he looks just fine. He doesn't look world class, but he looks just fine. And he has it in him to make those really good passes like we've seen the last couple matches. So I'm not going to be too mad about that. Because he also did have another good long ball to find Xerxes later on in the second half as well. The long balls I thought could have been better. Garnacho, we always seem to have this. Recently, it's been Ahmad. Ahmad's been open. He's been wide, and no one really picks him out. Today, I was getting a little frustrated. For a lot of times, Garnacho was in nowhere, but he was in nothing but space, and we just weren't able to kind of get the ball out of our feet. We took a little too many touches, and we did just that opportunity to find him kept dissipating. And it's why it's so frustrating. The same with Ahmad in the last couple of games is when we do find Garnacho today. Generally, it created an opportunity for us. He's very good at receiving the ball and getting into the area, same as Ahmad. And so we need to take what we know about their ability to do that, and we need to capitalize on that when the opportunity to switch the ball is on. And I'm frustrated we don't do it more frequently. But again, I don't want to be pedantic about that. Because again, it happened earlier when we made a switch play, and actually it was kind of like a mirror almost of a FA Cup final. Where Rashford found Garnacho with a good long-range switch. Garnacho today found Rashford with a good long-range switch to help him get his first goal today. He opened a scoring account in our Carabao Cup campaign, took that ball, and took the goal very nicely, beat a man to get it right up against the goalkeeper and just dinked it over him. We need to play those balls more frequently, those switch plays to find our wingers. We just tend to be a little too slow in possession, which is just a little frustrating. But in any case, Rashford did open up our scoring today. He looks like he's building confidence, which I like. The free kick that he took a little later on too was like just another sign that he wants to he believes in himself. He backs himself. When's the last time we saw Rashford really line up and take charge and take a long range free kick like that? He's probably not going to make it because those aren't really high percentage, but the fact that he's doing it tells me he's confident. I don't even mind letting him do that. It's good to see him smiling again, which we haven't seen in a little while. His body language looks better. He was lively. He was energetic. Another player who's looking really good right now is Eriksen. We saw him in the last match against Southampton, really getting stuck in, really getting involved higher up the pitch. Today was more of the same. He's looking better and better for us. He did really well to take those 2 goals with those like third man runs. He got on the end of that square ball from Bruno as well. If he can maintain this level when called upon, Eriksen, then that's excellent for us. It's only good for us. Again, too many people are too quick to just give up on players when they're in a bad run of form, when they're recovering, when it takes them a little bit to get up to speed. But what you should be, again, just like the manager, you should be supporting them, because imagine if they do find their form again, that's only good for us. So what's it going to hurt to just support them and back them in those situations, right? I don't get it, but it is what it is. Anthony had a good night as well. Had an interception early on. He beat his defenders a couple times, which I really like. I'd like to see him do that more often. It's one of my big caveats with Anthony, aside from the fact that he doesn't have a right foot, which is still ironic because he has scored some good goals for us with his right foot, like Liverpool in the FA Cup last season, that goal against Barcelona in the Europa League 2 seasons ago. But he doesn't take on his defender as much as I would like him to. He's not the quickest, so I can see that. He's not the strongest because he's smaller, but at the same time, he doesn't take a ton of speed or a ton of strength. He's got the trickery. He's got the ability on the ball. All Anthony needs to do is use one of these skills to create space for himself, so he doesn't have to be super, super fast. If you just use a bit of skill to drop a shoulder, nutmeg, whatever you want to do, man, because we've seen you do that, and it creates yards of space for yourself where you don't have to be fast. He's explosive. He's not quick in his sprint, but he is explosive, and so I think he can create space for himself, and I'd like to see him do it more often. He did do well to win the pen, and I think Rashford letting him take it will do Anthony a world of good, as Tenhag said later on. So then Garnacho got more involved. He got our 3rd goal, and in typical Garnacho fashion, it was the result of him not giving up on the play. So Rashford gets the ball, takes into the area with some good footwork, and then he kind of loses it, and it kind of squirts towards the keeper, and Garnacho is kind of right there, and he doesn't give up on it. We've seen Garnacho do this time and time again, where the ball is there, and where sometimes players, it's easy to switch off. It's easy to see it go the way you weren't expecting and be like, but he just kept following it up and just poked it home. And then he made it 4-0 in the early in the second half as well. And he was a lot. And then, like, even after that, he provided. So Garnacho had 2 goals, 2 assists. He found Rashford again for our 5th goal later on, like the 57th minute too. Garnacho has like 4 goals, 3 assists already this season. I'm planning to do another video here shortly on Garnacho, so keep an eye out for that. But 4 goals, 3 assists so far for Garnacho this season in all comps. 2 goals and an assist for Rashford now in the last couple games. That was for tonight. Rashford's on 3 goals and an assist now this season in the last 2 games. And I don't even mind taking both of them off either before they got the hat trick. I was sure when Garnacho stayed on, I was sure when he was getting more involved, I thought for sure he was going to get the hattie. It didn't end up happening, but again, I don't even mind that they were taken off because it keeps them hungry. It keeps them wanting more. You saw how badly Garnacho was going for that. And it's good man management. Fergie used to do this kind of stuff all the time, keep players hungry. He used to intentionally bench some players, not start them for a run of games because he knew which players he could do that with and keep them angry, get them motivated, keep them hungry. And that way, when he did start them, they were ready. They were busting out of the gate. And that's good man management from Ten Hag. It's a shame Xerxes couldn't grab a goal. I'm not too worried. He did look a little frustrated, but he was, pressing really well. He'll get his goals. I'm not too fussed about it. Ahmad needed some minutes, and I thought he did well. I would talk about the defense, but defensively, they didn't really have much to do. Evans, Maguire really didn't have to do a whole lot. They did well a few times just to kind of challenge and win the ball, things like that. But other than that, there wasn't a whole lot to do. I think Mizraoui had like one good recovery slide tackle to break up a counterattack. That was about it. Bayindir was pretty quiet. I don't even think he had to make many saves, if at all. Like I said in the preview, this was definitely a good confidence-boosting game for a few players that really needed it. A few goals to get them out of their own heads, really get them kickstarting their campaign, really builds on some momentum for some players like Rashford, Anthony. That was good to see him get some goals. And Ten Hag reiterated ahead of the match Ruud van Nistelrooy's old analogy from decades ago about strikers and goals being like ketchup in a bottle. It takes a while but once it starts, they just start coming out. And it rang true today. We saw that 2 goals apiece from Rashford and Garnacho is really good. And this was also the second match of a busy run of fixtures for us. And it only helps to win in this fashion. Again, that's 10 goals in the last 2 matches, 10 unanswered goals. We've conceded 0. We have 2 clean sheets in a row, 10 goals scored. Nick, how you doing, my guy? Let me know your thoughts on the match, buddy. We're about wrapped up here, but I can't wait to hear what you have to say about that. So again, 10 goals unanswered in the last 2 matches. Again, yes, it's Barnsley. It was Southampton, yes, but it's look less at the competition and more about what those things do for our players and our morale and our momentum going forward. It's about confidence. It's about form, practicing, getting involved in like the rhythm and the tactics and the style of play. And it's about, again, building momentum. It's a platform to keep building on. It's one step and then another step and then another step. And that's all we can do. I don't think I need to go into any stats or anything. I think the goals and the assists speak for themselves. I don't need to look at possession or saves or pass completion. It was pretty straightforward. Okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm happy about the win. I'm happy about what it does for us, but I'm not going to go in on a 7-0 over Barnsley. No disrespect, but I mean, I'm not going to disrespect them by picking it apart. I'm not going to overhype us by going into details on stats. It is what it is. As Nick says, it is good. It's just Barnsley. And again, not trying to disrespect, but it is a League One side. And fair play to Barnsley for pushing, for playing hard. They were getting stuck in a little bit. Anthony was getting involved a little bit with one of their players. So I'm not going to be, I thought maybe they would cause a little bit more problems. And they pressed us early on, but other than that, it's just the golf in quality just kind of shone through, and it is what it is. Nick says, I have received the jersey. Love it. Thanks again, Sean. Awesome, man. I'm so glad that arrived. I knew it would probably arrive sometime this week. That's awesome, man. You have to let me know how it fits, how you like it. And again, it's my thanks to you for just getting involved, for helping the channel grow. We are on the road to 2K. We're over 1,500 subscribers now. When we hit that 2K mark, we'll plan some more giveaways for you guys. But again, I just try to show my appreciation because really this channel is about you. You guys make it what it is. So couldn't be more thankful, couldn't be more just grateful, and really just excited to be able to do this. I mean, Nick, you live in Malaysia, but I get to sit here and talk about Man United with someone in Malaysia. I've got someone in Boston. I got people in Africa. Like, that's awesome. We live in an age where I can do that, and that's just exciting for me. So again, I'm not going to go into stats. Suffice it to say, their match went as it should. It's exactly what we needed to prepare to travel this weekend to Selhurst Park on Saturday to play Crystal Palace, who aren't doing so hot since Elise has gone. I know Nketiah got himself a goal recently. Eze is always dangerous, but they haven't looked great. I think they've only got and we'll do a preview ahead of that match, of course, but I think it'll be fine. Nick, I'm glad it fits, bud. That's awesome. I don't ever know what size. I always just get like mediums because that's what I wear, and I figured that's maybe what the majority of people might wear. So if it's too big, you can eat some more ice cream. If it's too small, go for some walks. I don't know what to tell you, but I'm glad it fits, bud. Appreciate that. So again, exactly what we needed to build momentum and confidence, and we had no injuries too. So that's always a plus. No injuries, right? I'm going to look at here what Tenhag had to say after the final whistle, because he did give a little post-match interview. So he said it was a perfect night for the players, lots of goals, entertain the fans, opportunity to work on the game models, as he calls them, or like the style of play, tactics, all that stuff. He said Rashford did give Anthony the pen to help his confidence. And you remember Bruno did the same thing for Rashford last season as well when Rashford was struggling a little bit. And Ten Hag said this is to show unity, to build the team. And so I don't have a problem with that. He was asked how this compares to the Liverpool result. Ten Hag said he wasn't devastated about the Liverpool result, and he's not going to overly celebrate now. He says we're going to see where we are in May. He said the same thing the other day. We'll see where we are in May, judge it in May. It sounds like he's holding himself to that same standard that he held the journalists to recently. So I don't have a problem with that. He's not getting gas. Like I said yesterday, straightforward result probably. Celebrate it for a little bit and then focus on the next one. It's about building on this. It's not about fixating on it. It's not about looking at this result and saying, hey, that was good. Like Rashford can't turn around now and say, you know, I scored 2, I'm good. I don't have to do much. That's enough. Like, no, you when you perform, you raise the expectation, you raise the standard, and now you've got to maintain that and then build on that. And that's what I like to see us do. I want us to keep playing like this, keep being ruthless, keep just going. We need to keep more of that up. He was asked if tonight's tactics were the style of play that he's been trying to implement, to which Ten Hag replied that when it comes to tactics and style of play, he says it's a never-ending process. You're always, evolving, building on that, and growing. So I don't have a problem with that. Again, some of these questions are just dumb, though, because so it was the last question that we have here, and then so he was asked about, okay, Garnacho scored. Is that what you want from your players? These questions are dumb, y'all. I said this the other week. I would be so frustrated as a manager if I were Ten Hag and someone in the press conference asked me, "Oh, your player scored. Is that what you want your players to do?" I'd be like, "No, I don't want my players to score." What kind of fucking stupid question is that, man? Like, who let you in here? Like, is this your first day? I just don't get some of these questions. I think they're stupid, man. Ten Hag did also take a moment to call out journalists too for when they claim that a player has been dropped for some negative reason just because they're not in the starting 11. He said, it's not the case that they've been dropped. He said he also just looks at who makes a good impact coming off the bench in some situations. That's exactly what I said the other day. It's not that Garnacho has been struggling or anything behind the scenes, and that's why he's not starting. It's that Garnacho has an impact off the bench. And when you look at players and you have to plan for substitutions and whatnot, you look at who can do that. I'm sure Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, when he was a player, wanted to start, but Fergie knew that he was much, much better coming off the bench and getting results. And he's done that. Scott McTominay did that a lot for us last year. Ole came on one time in like the 70 some odd minute and scored 4 goals for us in one game. Like, there's players that have the ability to do that, and not everybody can. So there's nothing wrong with that. So let me know your thoughts on the match. Let me know, were you happy with the starting 11? Were you surprised with Collier at left back? What did you think of that? What did you think of Ugarte's debut? He was getting stuck in. He's got that dog in him, guys. I told you that many, many times. He was not backing off. And I don't have a problem with the late tackles. It's not because he's like mean or anything. He's just got some rust in his legs, and he's got to get his legs match fit. But other than that, I don't have a problem with it. He did well to create space for himself on a couple of occasions when he was under pressure. So, again, it just helps. Champions League kicked off today too, I think, as well. I forgot about that. It's so weird. I was looking at the schedule this week. It's so weird to see Champions League matches on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. I didn't even remember that it was Champions League today. Even though I'm sure there are a lot of people who are probably watching this match more than like Liverpool's match. I'm not complaining that there's so much Champions League because I get to watch some more footy, but I think the fact that it's just a money grab, this new format, it kind of bugs me a little bit. But it is what it is. We know how it is. Nick says, I'm glad Bruno didn't start. Yeah, Bruno needed some rest. And I think more importantly, because remember what we saw last season when he was injured for a couple of matches and we struggled. I think we need to find ways to not only to get results, but to also play well without Bruno in the side. Obviously, he's going to be here for the next few years. He just signed that new contract, but we need to be able to play without him. We need to find a way to work without him in the side, because there are going to be times where he's going to be injured and he does need to be rested, and we need to be able to do that. So I'm glad that we could. Eriksson has done really well. Casemiro looks really good high up the pitch. I don't have a problem with that. They offer something different to Bruno, and so I think that today was fine. It's a good match to do all that in. So nothing really negative to take away other than just some sloppiness to start, and I guess it's not even a negative, but just no Amas in the squad was a bit of a bummer. But I knew that we kind of knew that Tenhag was going to play a little bit of stronger side than we wanted him to. So Nick says Bayern with huge results. Let me go check out these Champions League scores while we're talking about it, Nick. Nick, if you're on Twitter, man, you should let me know how the shirt fits. Take a photo, tag me on Twitter. So let me see what these Champions League matches. So Juve beat Eindhoven. Villa won 3-0. That helps the coefficient. So that helps us in the long run. Liverpool won 3-1 over AC Milan. Yeah, Bayern. Wow, Bayern got so many. So, wow, Harry Kane had 4 goals, 3 of which were penalties. See, if that were Bruno and he scored a hat trick of penalties, we'd be hearing about how they don't count because they're penalties. Harry Kane does it, though, and it's everybody's gushing. Elise got a couple. Yeah, Crystal Palace are struggling without Elise. They need to find something that gets them over the line. Madrid won over Stuttgart. That was pretty much expected. Sporting beat Lille. Lille had a man sent off. Who did Lille have sent off today? Oh, wow. Angel Gomez got sent off. That's not good. He only played 40 minutes before he got sent off. Yikes. That's no bueno. Who else? What other matches do we have? Palace did just win today too, though. So Nketiah, Eze both got goals. So they're at least get another win. But, oh, Nick don't have Twitter. That's okay, bud. I'm always just eager to see how people look in the shirts. It's all good. Dylan won the first giveaway, and Dylan was here when I gave that shirt to him. If you guys remember from the season award show, he did wear it to the Loaded Dice Brewery like that following weekend though. So it's pretty good. Fits pretty well. But in any case, that is going to do it for me. A little bit of an earlier show tonight, but just wanted to go ahead and get the match result in. Not feeling great today. Got a bad sinus infection, so I'm just worn out, tired all day. So I'm going to go chill for the rest of the night. But I did want to get back and get your guys' thoughts. If you're not able to catch it live because, work and all that stuff, leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on the match. Collier's positioning, Ugarte's full debut. Everybody getting involved in the goals. Eriksson with 2 goals. That was a bit of a surprise. That's 2 big matches from Eriksson in a row, and I like what I see from him. So do you like Casemiro higher up the pitch? Let me know your thoughts. Anthony getting involved as well. Like the video if you have not done so yet. Subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 2K, and I will see you guys on the next one. Probably going to do another video in between tonight and the Crystal Palace previews, to keep a lookout for that. But until then, enjoy your evenings, enjoy your week. Nick, thank you for stopping by, man. Glad you received the jersey. Glad it fits, man. That's awesome. Wear it with pride. Glory, glory, Man United. See you guys on the next one. Take it easy.